This week on Front End Fire, Vercel acquires yet another JS meta framework, Figma joins the MCP game, and it turns out everybody is building an AI web browser. It's Front End Fire, let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome to Front End Fire, the weekly show that helps you stay up to date on the latest and the greatest in the front end world. I am your host today, TJ Van Tol. I am back to my normal setup with my normal headphones, which is very, which makes me feel a lot better. I have Jack Harrington with me.
Hello.
And Paige Nietringhouse.
Hey everyone.
And we have quite a bit of news this week. I know we say that a lot, but this week we genuinely had to sift through everything that was coming in to talk about what we were going to do. So
yeah, a lot going
on.
Yeah.
So I think people are getting back
right
from
before this recording,
vacations or I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's do it.
Okay.
And I think Vercel made the biggest news of the week. So Paige, you want to take that one?
Yes. So the creators of NuxtLabs, which is the creators of Nuxt and Nitro, have joined Vercel. They have acquired yet another metaframework. Yeah, the people behind some of the more popular metaframeworks in the JavaScript ecosystem. So if you're not too familiar with Nuxt, it is the metaframework for Vue, the Vue.js application builder. And Nitro is a server runtime that is very popular, actually, for a lot of the newer frameworks. It's used by Nuxt, obviously, Solid Start, TanStack Start, Analog.js. It's powering a lot of stuff because it's a good system. So yeah, this just kind of came out of nowhere, at least in my opinion. It just happened. And for now, the creators say that the projects are going to stay MIT licensed and the roadmap is going to stay public and the community is going to stay at the center. So, Vercel has been pretty good at stewarding other things.
Yeah,
Next.js,
Svelte.
obviously, Svelte, Shad CNUI. So, it's kind of concerning that they basically own every meta framework creator now, except for Astro, Remix, and Fresh. But they've also been okay about being stewards. I mean, Next not so much, because it's very much you get all the good things when you lock in with Vercel for deploying and hosting. But Svelte's pretty agnostic for hosting platforms, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Nitro is actually the one that worries me a little bit. So what Nitro does is it allows you to kind of get portability across all the different serverless and Dockerized systems and all that sort of stuff. And so, they have configurations for all the different providers, and that gives you some really beautiful portability. And that's why TanStack Start is on top of it and all that. I will say in the case of TanStack Start, they have started actually before this, making sure that Nitro was just one way of doing that. So they have portability at that level as well, but I don't know about the other vendors. But that one's a little concerning, because that's you're getting more than just Nuxt. You're getting also that one. I mean, Nuxt itself, there's not a huge number of apps on Nuxt in comparison to something like Next.
I still will say that Vercel is well aware that the web development community is very in tune to this sort of thing. They know that there will be pushback if they make Nitro of Vercel hosting only, they knew they'd just be committing reputational suicide if they did something like that. I think the more likely outcome of this is that Vercel hosting of these sorts of apps becomes easier, or Vercel becomes, but you would expect that to just sort of naturally happen. But I think their reputational risk will keep them from doing anything truly harmful to these Nitro and Nuxt communities.
Yeah.
In theory, hopefully.
It is interesting, though, to kind of just see the acquisitions that are happening this summer. This seems to be the summer of, Figma bought CMS Payload, and now Vercel has acquired the NuxtLabs, what other acquisitions, I guess, are we going to see in the near future from other big tech companies just like buying their competition or buying more of the market share up?
How many targets are left out there? I don't know, at a certain
Yeah.
point. I mean, Nuxt isn't all that big of a framework. And I was kind of surprised. Were you guys surprised that like it wasn't Void Zero already? Like I thought the Nuxt was kind of under the Vue banner. So I was just kind of
Yeah.
surprised by that.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know who the people actually were behind Nuxt. I mean, I've heard of the framework, popular in the Vue world, but I don't know. It's one of the ones that didn't have, a major corporate backing or anything like that. So,
yeah, crazy.
All right. Well, next on our list, speaking of Figma has got some MCP news, Jack, this week.
Yeah, Figma released its MCP server. So the idea is that you run do you guys run the Figma desktop app? Or do you run it like in the
I've only
browser?
of it through the browser personally.
Same. Yeah.
Okay. So Figma actually has a desktop app. First off, ta-da, who knew? And one of the things that you can now do at least on my license, and my license is like a $20 a month, whatever, yada, yada. And I just actually renewed it just to go and check this out, is you can go to the Figma menu and then there's like an enable dev mode MCP server. And what that actually does, it launches like a little browser inside of the application, and then you can connect to that MCP endpoint through like VS Code or Cursor or Windsurf or Zed or any of the MCP. I guess they're all MCP enabled systems now, and also the CLI stuff as well. So you can do the Cloud Code and all that. And then it gives you a couple tools. And one of those tools is get code. So you can literally like select whatever your Figma mock is that you want to bring into your code. And then your agent will go and call that get code tool. That will get the very raw HTML and then bring that into your app. And that's actually kind of one of the, I would say, like the little sticking point here is like, you're definitely going to want to then move on to the next step of having your AI like
clean it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rewrite it.
Write it, because you gotta, like, when you put up like an input field or something that looks like an input field in Figma, it's probably just a bunch of rounded rectangles and like a gray piece of text in it or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not an input field. And what you'll get in the code is you'll get like a bunch of divs and a p tag or something like that. And it's like, okay, no, now you gotta like go in and fix it. And then question is like how good is the fidelity between those things once you've had the AI then go in and fix the code that you just brought in. So it's kind of an iterative process, but it's cool. It's great that we have access to it now.
So have you tried it, Jack?
Yes. Yeah. I tried it, and yeah, of course. And I gotta say, it depends a lot on it also does a lot of absolute positioning, and that depends on your designer, right? So if your designer is one of those folks who kind of like paints in Figma, then you're going to get a lot of absolute position divs. Not great.
Yeah.
But if you have a designer that actually uses like their flow layout stuff, like, the horizontal, vertical, all that sort of stuff, you'll get some, you won't get absolute positioning, you'll get some flexing, I guess, in there. So, that's another thing to watch out for. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be an iterative process where you go and like after you've done all this, you take a screenshot and then you're like, okay, now go and try and sync it with this again. And, so it's that 80-20 thing, right?
Yeah. I just wonder, is it actually saving me time by bringing in this, as you said, very raw HTML versus me just taking a screenshot and putting it into Claude Code and saying, hey, recreate this. You already know I'm using this component design system, and my colors are these, and this is how the code is built already. Just remake it with JSX because that's what the rest of the application uses.
Now you're going to get me to redo my video on this, because I was originally going to do and I just did literally before we did this. I did like a Figma MCP video, and now it's like, yeah, I should totally do that. It should be like Figma versus Claude Code and have it like Figma and then do its flow, and then Claude Code and just give it a screenshot and see what happens.
Yeah, which is quicker and more accurate.
And then for the third one, you just code it yourself. Like, it's just,
I mean, I think
like
The
old school
old-fashioned
style.
if you have a really good design system, if you've already got all the stuff with the margins and everything like that all set up and everything, then you probably are faster just to go and just use your existing components, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I could see, though, why this could totally help people who are more beginner developers, though, or people that don't have that design system in place. Because if I understood you correctly, basically the workflow here is I'm in my cursor, my windsurf, my VS Code, I'm in my editor. I get the MCP server, the Figma MCP server installed. I somehow have to give it like my credentials or whatever.
No,
so
no, that's actually really cool because you're logged into the app, right? It knows who you are. Ta-da, right? Ta-da. Yeah.
That's helpful.
And because you've selected something in the app, it knows what you're interested in. So it's got a lot of context from that. So that's
Fascinating.
Actually, that's why it's the desktop app that does it and not the web app.
Oh, okay. I did not make that connection. So,
Okay. Thank you for asking because that's actually important.
So I'm in Cursor then. I've got Figma open. I've got my designer came up with this form design.
Right. Yep.
And I'm in
Yep.
Cursor and I say like, I put that form in this component. And then in theory, it would know all the context from Figma. It would know the HTML and it should be able to just kind of dump the form in there, right?
It basically does. Yeah, the tool gets given things like what's your framework and all that sort of stuff. And so you give it, React is as an example. And then you get back, it gives you literally back like, here's some code, boom. Like here's all the image URLs, blah, 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 blah. Here's all the divs. And then your browser not your browser, your IDE then kind of merges it into, or maybe it creates a new component. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just what I found from the couple of hours that I've worked with it is that Cursor kind of just basically brings in the code, does enough to kind of get it in there, and is like, okay, maybe you should do some more prompting of me because I don't think this code looks all that good.
I did what you asked though. Here it is.
Yeah,
Boom.
you told me to bring it in. Having a look
Here
at
you
it,
go.
I think you might want to do some more to this.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's cool though.
yeah, it's super early days. I'm sure it will get better. But that's cool how they're trying to make it work.
One more thing about it. It's only read only that I thought, and that was an interesting choice. Like you can only get stuff from Figma. You can't send stuff to Figma, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's like, like if you got like a shad CN button or something like that, and you just want to go and tell Figma, hey, by the way, I want to create this new button thing, and it's going to look like this. Nope. And I wonder if that's like a licensing thing because they've got their like Code Connect product and all that. And it's like, maybe that's stepping on each other's tails. I'm not sure.
I think it's probably for a V1 that opens a lot of cans of worms though, in terms of consequences and security and permissions. And there's a lot. I mean, it could be cool, but it's also a lot.
Yeah.
Probably V2 or 3.
But it's very cool. I mean, if you're a big Figma user or you're in that maybe it'll save you some time.
Yeah, I'd be curious to try it out. We use Figma, and so I pull designs from there sometimes, and I'd be curious to try this just for the novelty of it, honestly, just to see what it does.
It's super easy to try out. I mean, I tried it along like a bunch of different designs, and there were some times when it just completely crapped out, and I'm not sure why, but I think it's worth trying.
Awesome. Well, my news this week is a pair of news stories, both on brand new web browsers. I feel like that's every other week we're announcing somebody else is building an AI web browser. But this week there's some pretty big names joining the game. First and foremost, OpenAI. So according to 3 people familiar with the matter who talked to Reuters, OpenAI is planning to launch an AI web browser in, quote, coming weeks. So,
oh, wow.
In theory, quite soon.
There you go. That's how long it takes to make Chromium wrappers nowadays, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
According to the sources, the browser will feature a native ChatGPT interface, whatever that means, allowing users to interact with the chatbot directly through the browser rather than navigating to OpenAI's websites. Sources tell the outlet that OpenAI is also planning on building its Operator AI agent into the browser. So if you're not familiar with Operator, we have covered it on this show in the past. It's basically OpenAI's tools that lets that basically lets you control a browser, more or less. Like you'd go into Operator and say, book me tickets to the Chicago Bulls game, and it would go off on its own. It's their basically agentic web browser tool that attempts to use the browser for you. And so it would make sense that if OpenAI is building a browser, they would build their agentic browser tool into said browser. So that is probably coming as part of this as well. And something I didn't know, but last year OpenAI hired 2 longtime Google vice presidents who were part of the original team that developed Chrome. So that came out in this Reuters report as well. So it appears that they've had their plans to basically do this for quite a while. And it sounds like it's coming to fruition. And as Jack mentioned, of course, it is building its browser on top of Chromium because that's the easiest path. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
That's the only way that they'll get it to market in a number of weeks. If they were doing what Lady Bird is doing, building it from scratch, it would be years in the making.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess from our perspective, from a web development perspective, I mean, it shouldn't affect our day-to-day because anything we build for Chrome should work in this OpenAI browser, whatever it ends up being. But it is kind of interesting just to see what the marketplace appears to be now. Instead of building completely new browsers from scratch, with the exception of Ladybird, everybody's just spinning up these lightweight browsers on top of Chromium like crazy. And OpenAI is kind of the latest to jump in on this.
Yeah, even Opera Air. I mean, Opera used to be its own system, and now it's Opera Air is Chromium. So yeah.
Google wins.
Yeah. Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Edge is Chromium.
Yeah.
That's Microsoft.
And then in the second news, so the other company joining this game is Perplexity. So Perplexity is basically the AI company that is trying to be a Google replacement. So they're focused on basically being an alternative to Google.com. So in a sense, it kind of makes sense. It makes the most sense, at least to me, for them to build a browser because they're trying. The reason Google builds Chrome is so that Google is the default search and they can control all of that. So if Perplexity wants to replace Google as the default search, well, I guess they need a browser too. Theirs will be called Comet. Comet, which I think is a pretty good name for a web browser.
How does that relate to Perplexity?
Doesn't.
How does anything relate to Perplexity?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, you know what? You should call it like Confused or something because,
I don't know. But
weird name for a company in the first place.
It is, but for the browser, it is already available, but it's at the moment only available for Perplexity's $200 per month max users, as well as a small group of invitees that signed up on a wait list. They do say they eventually plan to make this thing free to everyone, so everybody should have a chance to jump in on it at some point. Comet's headline feature is the Perplexity AI search engine, as you might imagine. They've got like this, what they call a sidecar, where basically you can have Perplexity open on the side of the page. Not exactly super novel.
Yeah, and Dia, anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Comet Assistant, which is an AI agent from Perplexity. So again, this is going to sound familiar to what OpenAI is doing that can do things on the user's behalf. And because Comet has launched, some journalists at TechCrunch had the chance to try it out. And they said that Comet Assistant wants a lot of permissions, first of all, because since it wants to control everything, it wants complete access to things like your calendar and your email, because it wants to be able to do things on your behalf. And which is, I guess, potentially interesting, but also very concerning as well. And their TLDR was that Comet Assistant did some basic tasks fine, but kind of fell apart for anything remotely complex. Like they talked about trying to book a parking spot, and Perplexity kept hallucinating dates and places and such.
That's complex. I was like thinking like oh, you want to talk to different people and coordinate like a vacation together or something like that. No, booking a parking spot is complex.
It got tripped up because like the first place it picked had the dates it was asked to were booked. And so it tried to pick different dates. But the thing is, like, what it didn't understand, what any human would, is that the dates are kind of important. Like you can't just like change the dates of a parking reservation. Like no, those dates are like tied to tied to something. And
drive somewhere. Yeah.
Oh man, so it sounds like we're gonna have a glut of random new browsers that have AI agents bolted onto them. And now we're going to have to figure out which ones are actually worth switching to.
Basically.
Are any of them useful? And do we want any of them to have full access to our computers and our lives? Because that is concerning to me.
And we're probably going to get one extra one, which is like an open source version that has, now you can connect to any of the vendors and have that in there. Because Dia runs on its own model. It gave me nothing but flack about that last night. I was asking what its model was, and it's like, I'm not going to tell you. Like, okay, sorry. But so you're going to, it's whatever it is plus one, because you got to have the open source version, like open code.
Yeah.
Joy.
I did save the best for last though. So Comet's website is crazy. You should look it up if you haven't found it yet. They have some insane scroll animations. Like there's one where you can learn facts about the planet, the various planets and all this stuff, all for a web browser. But I'm going to read you some of the messaging from their website because this is just, I just love messaging like this because they think this browser is basically going to save humanity more or less. So 2 paragraphs here. We're going to read this because it's going to be totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So Jack and Paige, Perplexity believes curiosity is a superpower. It's the spark that propels humanity forward. Yet the web, our greatest source of information, was never designed to nurture curiosity. Instead, we've been asked to, quote, browse it through a one-way lens. That's why we made Comet. Comet gives curious minds a thought partner for every aspect of online life. Comet moves every tab or task into a simple space for asking more of the world. With Comet, the web becomes a tool of curiosity, helping you connect ideas, move faster, and turn wonder into momentum. Comet is for anyone curious enough to ask what else is possible.
So you would be absolutely great for the voiceover of the video that they're using to pitch this.
Yeah.
TJ.
And it's a Chromium browser. But apparently this is
They really should have named it Telescope if they were going to lean into that analogy of like two-way browsing and learning more.
Yeah, maybe you should work for their marketing team. I don't know. This seems like a little bit much for a Chromium clone that makes Perplexity the default search. But what do I know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Looking at this thing, and that was clearly written by AI going off on a bender.
Yeah.
But I love like the browsing at like right at the top, you got this browsing at the speed of thought thing, and for no particular reason. Like the W in browse is like kind of italicized, and the U in thought, like, okay, like why the W? Like what? Crazy design decisions.
So I like the parallax because that's something that you don't see too often anymore. Their home page is pretty sweet. The scroll animations are pretty cool. I will give them that. Whoever
it
did
is really
that,
nice. Like
kudos.
like and the design is really good too. Like I will say that. Like I think some of the messaging is a little bit much, but they've clearly hired some pretty talented designers and developers that put this together. It's really well done.
But it's usually like as you scroll down, like you get to the planets. Like what? What are they doing? The planets is
a bit weird. I don't know what.
Why?
Yeah.
What?
Those are for.
I do want to
Somebody
learn about,
in the meeting was like,
Neptune?
"Well, we need more. We need to sell this space theme a little bit more. Like, why don't we have planets come in from the side?" Like,
right?
Yeah.
And then okay.
I will say though, like with this just explosion of browsers, this is where having a bit of a community is nice. Like we had a conversation in our Discord actually about browsers, and I learned a few things about like we got into a whole vertical tab conversation and the pros and cons of that. So if you are jumping on any of these AI browsers, we'd love to have feedback from these. Have you tried Dia? Have you are you a $200 a month max subscriber to Perplexity? And have you tried Comet? Because if so, we'd love to, like, genuinely would like to know, because we sometimes make fun of this, but there are genuinely interesting ideas in here. Like I've seen some usefulness out of Dia already. And especially with this much investment going in, I think something useful will eventually come out of this, but also a lot of nonsense will come out of this push as well.
Funny enough, a lot of our listeners who chimed in anyway are Vivaldi lovers. They think Vivaldi is great. It has all these buttons and knobs and things that you can tweak and turn if you're a power user, and they think it's awesome.
Give it a go. Yeah. I got to say, I like Dia. I'm using it as my primary browser now, but I do miss a lot of the quality of life stuff that was in there from Arc. Just the basics. Just the basics. The different spaces and things like that, that's gone. But now I got this bolt-on thing, and I do have conversations with it. It's free, I guess. And, but otherwise, I kind of want, there's the more mechanical stuff that I want back in my browsers. I wish they'd spend some more time on that, as opposed to just, bolting on AI.
Yep. And I don't think those mechanical things, I'm skeptical that Perplexity and OpenAI are going to be great about adding the mechanical things. I think it's just going to be just AI all the time, basically, for them. But we'll see.
Yep.
All right. Well, I know we have one lightning round news, so why don't we head to that?
Ooh. Okay, so new project out called Xmcp.dev. If you remember back to the old Next days, remember when you could just literally fire up a package JSON, drop in Next, and then create a folder called, directory called pages and start making pages and you were good. Boom, done. Well, that's basically what Xmcp.dev is trying to do for MCP servers. So you install this Xmcp thing. There's one little config file that you got to set, maybe the port number of your URL of your server, and then you create source/tools, and you start creating some tools in there that connect with whatever, your backend servers, your databases, what have you, whatever you want to do, you do for your custom MCP server. And it handles all the rest. It handles all the auth if you need auth. It handles being either a standard IO server or a web server or both, whichever way you want it. And apparently it will also integrate into your current Express app or your Next.js app if you want to. But I couldn't actually get that to work.
Oh.
So I think it's a very cool project. I love the DX, the developer experience of it, just being able to drop in XMCP into your package, one little configuration file, and away you go. Now you're building tools. I think that's great. But they are missing some parts of the spec. They don't support anything else other than tools. So they don't support resources or any of that, which I think is actually kind of important. So hopefully they'll get around to that too.
So, Jack, does anybody own them?
Is it a Vercel project? I'm not sure. It is a Vercel project. Okay. So yeah, I guess so. I guess Vercel. Great.
Is it though? Because they have basement.studio.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Which basement.studio is a pretty interesting website. I don't know if this is Vercel. I don't think it is.
I mean, it was originally, I know I heard about it from Guillermo, but I don't know if wow, that is a thing, man. Yeah, you're right. Basement.studio is quite the thing. Wow. Okay.
Oh, I got some music playing now too. So.
Oh, wow. Neat. Okay. Yeah.
We'll get back to you on that. It may or may not. Vercel, or it may just have good integration with Vercel for now.
Yeah, I'm not holding it against them. I think it's cool. And if you want to try out MCP, I think it's probably currently the easiest way to do that, which is why you bring it up on the show.
Yeah. That's
and
cool.
MCP is not, there's a lot of, as someone who built a very simple MCP server, I needed Jack's video series to figure out how to get the basics working. So having some of that streamlined would be definitely appreciated. All right. We also have a fire starter this week, so we have more music to play.
All right.
All right. So we have talked about if statements coming to CSS in the past, and now they are available in Chrome 137. So if you're using any of the Chromium browsers that we've talked about previously, go ahead and give it an update. But actually, being able to use it is pretty straightforward in terms of the syntax, and it works with 3 query types currently. It does style queries, media queries, and supports queries. And I think I personally have only ever used media queries. I don't think I've used style queries or supports queries, but apparently somebody is.
I've used supports for some really basic things, like if it supports this, then do this, but
Okay.
but pretty rarely.
All right. So the actual syntax, if you want to think about it in terms of CSS, it's going to be property colon and then if, and then you wrap all of your things. So it can be like
That's cool.
condition
That's
1,
elegant. Yeah.
value 1, condition 2, value 2, and then you can put else, and then you can have like the default at the end. And I know that this is so like, it seems so obvious and so simple to us if you use any other programming language, but this is huge for CSS. And now you can actually do things with state-based styling, which I think is really where it's going to come in the most handy. You know, you apply those weird extra like active tags to your class names or all the dumb things, the ternaries that we have to do of like show this element instead of this other one. So this just makes that smooth and simple and much easier to write and read, and it's very, very cool.
Yeah, I think the one thing that comes to mind is those supports ones. We talk about a lot about new features, new CSS features, and being able to say in a one-liner, if supports like anchor positioning or whatever, right? Do this, else do this is kind of nice. It does have the problem of, well, we have to wait till everything supports if before we could then use if for other stuff. But I think long-term, this is going to be really cool. I think my brain's going to need time to adjust because having written CSS so long, this is just really weird syntax to see.
Well, yeah, I felt the same way with nested CSS queries when I saw those for the first time. You know, you do the ampersand and then the extra class name or whatever. That is, it broke my brain, but I really love it now. I think it's great. It's so much easier to read. But yeah, we've got a link to a great article that Una Kravitz for the Chrome team wrote about how to use them, examples for each of the different types of query types. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm very excited to see this more in the wild going forward.
Yeah, very cool.
And hey, it's going into Chromium. That means, OpenAI, Comet, Dia, they're all going to pick up on this right away. So,
but not
exciting.
Firefox. Firefox will be out there way in the future.
Oh,
poor Firefox.
And Safari.
Well, Safari's pretty good.
So yeah, Safari's been keeping up pretty good lately. I don't know. We need like OpenAI to just buy Firefox or something like that, honestly. To like, not totally kidding. I mean, I think it'll be. I am concerned.
Not a bad idea.
Firefox and like Firefox so good for the web to just have another rendering engine still out there, but like 100%. Man, how you keep up with this is going to be hard. But good feature of the web platform. All right. Well, if statements are making us happy, why don't we discuss what else is? Let's try a transition.
Okay. I applaud your transitional try there.
Yeah, I gave it a go.
Yeah, man. Sounds good.
Paige, what is making you happy this week?
The Netflix series Somebody Feed Phil is making me happy this week. And it is, if you haven't seen it, Phil Rosenthal is, I think he was one of the writers or the creators of Everybody Loves Raymond way back in the like 90s, 2000s sitcoms. And he has been doing, this is, I think, the 8th season of Somebody Feed Phil. And it's just him going to these different cities across the United States and around the world and finding the best food to eat there. And it's places that are little holes in the wall. It is family-run restaurants. It is fine dining establishments. It is like, it runs the gamut. And the thing that makes it so good is that he is not a dining, like he's never been a chef. He's never been in the restaurant industry. He just loves eating food and is so excited when he eats good food. He'll dance at the table. He makes all these great faces and like just sounds of enjoyment. He meets all these people because, of course, the chefs will come out and they'll talk to him, and he'll go to just these random places. And it is so fun because he is so earnestly enjoying himself the entire time that he's doing this that it really just like makes you feel good and there's no drama. It's always just like, these are such cool places. I met such nice people while doing this. I ate such good food at these random spots. Yeah. So when you need something that is just like makes you feel good and nothing else, this is a really good one to watch and see some really, really cool places around the world that he goes to. Because he'll go to like very lesser known places or things that just wouldn't like even come across your idea. Like the one that I watched most recently, he was in Tbilisi, Georgia, in like
I
right
don't even know
next
where
to
Tbilisi, Georgia is.
it's right. It's the capital of the country, Georgia, which is right next to
Oh, that Georgia.
Russia.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about your Georgia.
No,
Oh, okay.
the country of Georgia,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But that's the thing, is like nobody really talks about it. But it's where wine was created 8,000 years ago. And
Diggity.
the food just looks incredible. The whole thing looks incredible. So it's really, really fun. It's a good watch.
Very cool. Jack, what is making you happy this week?
Guitar lessons are making me happy this weekend, or this week, actually. Yeah, I've gone out now my second guitar lesson in person, which is kind of cool. So I got to look at a local instructor, really nice guy. And, you know, he's kind of holding me to task for doing my practicing and all that kind of stuff and really kind of watching everything I do. And he's very encouraging and all that. But I got to say, it's actually, I've never taken a direct guitar lesson with somebody before. And I've never really actually paid anybody to teach me anything before. And so it's funny to have somebody who actually is totally cool with me just sitting there and screwing up for 30 minutes and giving me, you know, and it's kind of weird. It's like, oh, wow. You know, I just an odd sensation. I end up apologizing a bunch, like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he's like, why? Like, it's your time, man. Like,
Yeah, you're paying me to do this.
You're paying me to do this. Yeah, exactly.
You're learning.
Yeah. So it's been good.
Are you gonna play something for us on the show here one of these weeks?
One of these years, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? But way down the road.
Do you have any like goals in mind to get like certain songs you want to play, or just generally improve?
Yeah, just a couple. Basically some backyard barbecue type songs that people can sing along with. You know, that kind of thing. Just so it's
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Nice.
And it's been something that, like, as a kid, I tried it out, and I feel like I failed at it. And so it's one of those things where, as an adult, it's like, I can conquer this thing. I'm an adult now. You know, go for it.
We might have to start a band, because my equivalent of that is the drums. Like I was always into the drums, but I never really actually took it seriously. And then, you know, grew up and whatever. Haven't touched a drum set in decades. But I don't know. Maybe one of these days.
There you go.
Go jam session.
Yeah.
I just need a midlife crisis, buy a drum set and get some lessons. And
well, nowadays they're electronic and they don't make enough noise. Or you can get that. You know.
That's true.
Yeah, a little bit more accessible now.
All right. Well, what's making me happy this week is something Paige picked on this show. If you're a very long time listener, because I had to look it back up from episode 30 back in the day. Paige picked Murderbot, and I checked out Murderbot on Apple TV and watched. It's like 9 episodes. It's pretty fast. The episodes are pretty short, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's an excellent show. The premise is essentially it's a futuristic world, space travel, all that type of thing. And there are these sort of like AI bots, and one of the bots hacks its governance system, what it calls its governance system. It's basically hacks its controls so that it doesn't have to listen to people.
To these inane people. Yeah.
And yeah, it ends up, because of that, it calls itself Murderbot. But it's hilarity ensues. It's really well done, and I'm planning on reading the books because my wife has been reading. There's a whole Murderbot series of books, a bunch of them, and apparently the like audiobooks, the graphic audiobooks are extremely well done for Murderbot. So that's what I plan to do next. But the show is excellent. So whether you do the books or the shows, it's a good time.
Yes.
Yeah, we listened to a lot of the books, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I do not remember picking that. I need to go back apparently and watch it again.
Episode 30, because I when it came up, I was like, I have heard this before, and luckily, thanks to our website, like I can just go into the source code of our website and search Murderbot and dig it back up, and it's like, man, that's a blast from the past.
Paige, you're watching the show, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Because it just had the finale last night. And yeah, it's really good.
And both Jack and I did read your Rock, Paper, Scissors book as well. So we can give that a...
I didn't. My wife... And I was translating my wife's comments through me.
I thought you read it too.
No, I haven't watched it.
I see.
I haven't read this. And yeah. That was the kind of humor of it all. Was like, Paige recommended it, you read it, and then my wife read it. And so, she's giving her review through me in Discord. Yeah.
Anyways, it was pretty good. We had some qualms with the end of the book, but overall we gave it a thumbs up. It's got the front end fire seal of approval.
Yeah, she tried to explain the plot to me, and I'm like, I don't get any of this, but okay, I guess if I read it, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, the twist was genuinely really good. So.
Okay, there you go.
But I think that makes another episode for us. I'll end, as always, by thanking our sponsor, the Blue Collar Coder. Check out the Blue Collar Coder on YouTube. You can join us in our Discord channel. You can tell us about your favorite AI browsers that you're using nowadays. Our socials are all in the show notes as well. But thanks, everybody, for joining, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
See you then.